Allow me to express my thanks to Prince Hans Adam for making this important colloquium possible, and also to Wolfgang for inviting me to this place. I'm greatly honored. In Bosnia-Herzegovina, where I serve as the international community's high representative and the European Union's special representative, the overarching trajectory of post-war recovery has been based on eventual accession to NATO and the European Union. This is invaluable in practical terms, because Bosnia is a new country, because it entails a detailed and coherent program of political, economic, social, and judicial reforms. But not only this, it is crucial because it is fundamentally consistent with the aspiration of the majority of Bosnian citizens. The people of Bosnia and Herzegovina subscribe to the values that have delivered peace and prosperity to the rest of the continent for more than half a century. And if it works in Europe, people say it should also work in Bosnia. Democracy, free market, and civil society. This means that Euro-Atlantic integration isn't simply a matter of implementing a demanding reform agenda set by bureaucrats in Brussels. It is rather a matter of turning basic values into the building blocks of a successful state with the full support of the population. Ladies and gentlemen, over the past 4 years, Bosnia and Herzegovina has encountered serious difficulties. I believe that all of these difficulties and negative developments are the direct result of a misplaced view amongst a small group of people and a few political leaders, a misplaced view of self-determination, sovereignty, and the state. It is a view, however, which is not shared by the majority of BiH citizens. In the early 1990s, a minority like Milosevic and Karadzic, who found the multicultural mosaic of Bosnian society disagreeable, tried to impose their own agenda onto the majority. However, the majority has never found the multicultural mosaic disagreeable. Far from it, most Bosnians regard this as one of the positive aspects of their society. And this is not a recent phenomenon. You may know that about 500 years ago, the Jews of Spain, the Sephardic Jews, have been expelled from Spain. And they have been warmly received in the Ottoman Empire, amongst others, and also in Sarajevo. Sarajevo was a place where there was no ghetto, and so the Sephardic Jews called Sarajevo Jerusalem Chico, yeah? Little Jerusalem, because they could live freely. And even today they live there, and they still speak the ancient language of Cervantes, which did not change in Bosnia-Herzegovina for the last 500 years. So this is part of Bosnian life, this is part of Bosnian culture, and it is not true if somebody speaks something else. In the last 4 years, we have seen a regression, not a complete regression, and not, I'm convinced, an irrevocable regression towards some of the fear-induced and fear-inducing political posturing that we saw before and during the last conflict. Yet, we must not allow this posturing to set the political agenda, although sometimes it appears that people with such an agenda are dominating, but we must not allow it. A majority of the people of Bosnia and Herzegovina want to stick to an agenda that can succeed, an agenda based on democracy, free markets, and the protection of civil society, an agenda that will lead to Euro-Atlantic integration. These are the very foundations on which a prosperous and stable Bosnia and Herzegovina is being built, the very basis on which it is seeking admission to European Union and NATO. The revival of chauvinism and ethnic nationalism has wrought havoc, even though it has been actively espoused by only a small percentage of the Bosnian population and also a small percentage of political leaders. It has taken energy out of the political process, leading political debate away from constructive solutions. In a period when the focus should be on creating jobs and alleviating poverty, time and effort have been lost on discussing, often imaginary, threats to communal security. This is why I believe It is of paramount importance that all those who care about Bosnia and Herzegovina stand together with a majority of that country's citizens and support the agenda that has been shown to work. This agenda must not be rewritten by an agenda that has been shown again and again to fail. Ladies and gentlemen, the 3rd of October general elections and some of the changes achieved in the elections in Bosnia should offer the possibility for progress to resume. Since the elections, the international community has repeatedly stressed that after a period of stalemate and failure, Bosnia and Herzegovina cannot afford another 4 years of stagnation and needs to have a fresh start. The next 4 years, if they would be lost, we would not lose only 4 years. Maybe we would lose 40 years, because in the next 4 years, we have to set the agenda for the future of Bosnia-Herzegovina, European agenda, and the decisions will be taken the next 4 years. Bosnia-Herzegovina will become a candidate country or not. It will join NATO or not. So the next 4 years are very crucial for the future of the country. Fortunately, we have a very favorable regional climate in Bosnia-Herzegovina. Actually, one could say in a simplified manner, we have the best regional climate for the last 20 years. And even 12 or 13 years ago, you can remember we had as neighbors of Bosnia-Herzegovina, Franjo Tuđman, and I don't want to compare him, but on one side there was Franjo Tuđman, on the other side Milošević. Today we have Josipović in Croatia as president, a very noble gentleman, lawyer and composer, so he's trying to spread harmony. And on the other side we have President Tadić. President Tadić has initiated a Srebrenica declaration, as you know, in his parliament. He also signed the Istanbul Declaration of Reconciliation, and only a few days ago he visited Vukovar, where the greatest atrocities have taken place in Croatia. At the same time, also only a few days ago, the new presidency member for the for the Bosniak community, Bakir Izetbegović, the son of Alija Izetbegović, he also excused himself for atrocities committed by the Bosniaks towards Serb citizens. So we have really now not only regional cooperation, we also have now regional reconciliation, what is very, very important. The result has been like a breath of fresh air in the Balkans. Bosnia and Herzegovina now has a golden opportunity to leverage regional improvement into faster domestic recovery, and this is what I will be seeking to facilitate in the coming months. Part of our effort will be to reconfigure the Dayton Constitution so that the rights and individual rights of BiH citizens, of all citizens, are protected to a degree that it is consistent with European norms. I will finish now, but just to recall, this European Court of Human Rights has decided that the constitution in Bosnia-Herzegovina has to be changed because the minorities in Bosnia-Herzegovina, including the Jewish community, and Jakob Finci complained at the Human Rights Court in Strasbourg that every community, every citizen can be elected to every position in Bosnia-Herzegovina, not only the 3 constituent people, members of the 3 constituent peoples, but everybody. Ultimately, this is what self-determination is about. It is about securing the basic right of every citizen to live in dignity and security. This right is protected by an efficient and sovereign state that allows its citizens to prosper. And all this is based on democracy, free markets, and a civil society. This is an agenda that we in the international community and our partners in Bosnia-Herzegovina can and should advance unapologetically. And it has very real prospects, this is my deep conviction, it has very real prospects of success. Thank you very much.